Hey everyone, welcome to our probably most complicated video we're going to do this series of our idle game. Today we're going to be working on our save system. Now, I'm not on about our basic player pref save system that we did last episode. I'm on about the secure one, the binary formatted one. Now, before we start, I just want to say we're not going to go over encryption in this video. Because if you're releasing this game only to mobile, you're not really going to need it that much. Of course, if you're releasing to Windows or Mac or something like that, then you might want to think more about encryption, but it's not really necessary. And we're going to also talk about company name, because that's going to be important for this save system. Of course, if you want to do it, if you want to learn encryption, I might do a video on that later in this series. Not sure though, it depends how well this goes. Now this one's going to be quite complicated. As you can see, I've changed up my buttons a little bit here. That's just because I got some free assets off the internet, which are 100% free, which I can use for personal stuff. I'm not obviously going to be publishing this game, this is just for YouTube, so I'm going to use assets off the internet. If of course you want to publish a game, please make your own assets, it's important. As you can see, they're not perfect, like there's these little blurry bits here, but at the end of the day, it's just, you know, it works. But I'm also going to say that not everything that, basically everything that you're going to learn now is commonly used by sort of bigger devs, so like bigger game devs. It's more commonly used by the more advanced scripters to save their game data. It's a very commonly used binary formatting script. You can probably find it on GitHub somewhere, if you know what GitHub is. It's basically where you can post your scripts and stuff, like on your projects, and back them up really. Or I might do a GitHub backup tutorial, I'm not sure. But you might even be able to find this exact script on GitHub, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me. It's quite commonly used. You could probably search this script up and find that there'll be different variants of it, but they're all basically the same thing, just in different orders. But that's enough of me waffling on. Basically what I'm saying is, I recommend you watch this video all the way through, just so you know, just so you get the perfect 100% same script as me. But you could probably just look it up and find one online, but it might not be the exact same. The chances are quite high. These scripts are, you know, pretty much the same everywhere. Anyway, what we're going to do, as you can see, I've got a UI folder now for this. If I open that up, it's just loads of stuff in here. Obviously, you're not going to need that. You lot should have your own UI. But what we're going to want to do is click on Edit, and then go down to Project Settings, and then click on Player. Now, this is where you get your company name here. This is important, because this is going to be, when you release your game, you won't be able to change your company name. So let's say your company, let's say Driple Studios, right? That's what we're going to set our company name to, Driple Studios. Now, if of course, right, it's hard to explain, but if I press the Windows key and R, go to my app data, I'm going to have to blur some stuff here, but if you go to local low, and then go, okay, yeah, if you go to local low, in app data, I'm going to have to blur all this stuff, but you'll see like game names, and you'll see default company. That's where a game that you've downloaded on your computer hasn't set their company name, so their company name's literally set as default company. So if you go on this is actually all of my games, all of my test projects, which I haven't actually used for anything. So all of these default companies are my games, but I haven't used them for anything. And if you open these, basically what we're going to do is create a folder inside of these. So that's why it's important that you name your company name up here, so then it appears in this folder. Otherwise it's just going to be called default company, which no one wants. So I'm just going to call this YouTube series, just like so. I believe you can have spaces, I don't think that matters. Now, if I go down to scripts, now that we've done that, you're going to want to right click in scripts and create a brand new C# script. This script has not been named properly, I'm going to delete that, it's glitched out. Okay, sorry about that, I had to reopen up my Unity. as I was saying, that's what happened there. We want to create a new C# script and call this data. And that's all we're going to call it, and we're going to open this up. And while that's opening up, I'm going to talk about what our data script's going to do. So if we open up our main game as well, all our variables here, we're going to put into our data, into our new data script, so we can organise all of our data into one script. This doesn't have to be called data, this could be called, it won't be, I suppose you could call it save data, but you could get it confused with the save system script we're going to make today. I'll just call it data, because this is where your main variables are going to be stored. Variables, but it's just not really, you know, it's not just going to be used for variables, because you're going to put in, when we do optimization, you're going to put like lists and stuff in here. But I'm just going to call it data. I suppose you could call it other terms, you could call it storage, or just data's the easiest. So it's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of variables and like where you're going to store everything. So let's open up. Right, so let's write the script. So first, we are not actually going to need the using Unity engine at all, nor are we going to need mono behavior. We can completely remove the code on everything. We don't need mono behavior because we don't need to use any start or update functions. Basically, mono behavior is anything that Unity, that's basically anything really that's any functions, automatic functions that are handled by Unity. So void awake, void start, void, you know. Well, I actually don't. Yeah, void awake, void start, void update, stuff like that. Basic stuff that we just don't need. So what we can actually do now is get all our variables here. So all of these, let's just, and then Control X or right click and cut them, and then go over to data and paste them in here. Now let's just separate these so we can make this neater, like so. There we go. Actually, let's keep those together because they're one upgrade. And now let's drop down. So now we've moved all our variables from here, apart from our texts, because they can stay here. Now we've moved all of our variables, all of our, you know, all of our defined variables into our data class. And here we're going to say public data. Public data. I'm going to create a new function for data, and we're going to be returning stuff from it. So we're not going to it's not going to be a void. And it's going to be, we're going to then set our variables, like all of our variable. We're going to set up the values of our variables. Sorry, I've got a bit of a headache at the moment. So I'm sorry if I'm not, you know, with it as much. And we're going to say click power equals 1 because that's the default. Oh, I forgot my semicolon. And then we'll do click upgrade level. The default, that's 0. These are all the default values, by the way. Click upgrade price, the default is 5. Okay, there we go. That's all we want for the data script. That's literally it. Now, what we want to do is go into our main game, and we've got a few things to fix here. Now, there's a couple of ways we could do this. So the first thing we're going to do is, at the top of our main game script, we're now going to make a public data. I'm just going to call this data. And that's it. Now what we want to do is, we're going to simply, we might actually be able to make this private and serializable field. Yeah, let's do that. So let's make this serialized field and private data. Yeah, and then call it data. And then it's basically creating a private variable that can only be accessed in this script called data, which is how we're going to access these variables in here. And it's going to be serialized field, so we can change the value of it in Unity itself. So now let's get started. So now all these errors here, all you want to do is add data in the front of it. Also in the start, it's helpful to say data equals, then capital data, like that, equals new, and then the data function. Like that. It's just useful to say that, because then it could fix some potential errors you could get, really. It's the basic way of explaining that. Now I'm just going to copy that data dot and put it in front of everything that has errors. Now I know this isn't the best thing in the world that you could do, but what it does is it saves you having loads of variables in one script, so they can easily be accessed. without having, you know, hundreds of lines, which makes it all confusing. So now after you've got rid of all your errors by just putting data dot in front of everything, we can save that, and we're not going to need those scripts again. Right, now we can go back to Unity and create a new C# script called save system. This is the fun one. Trust me, this is the script that we're not going to like. Well, that no one's going to like. So, first things first, we can get rid of the start and update. Not going to need them. Next, we can go through this. We're not going to need system.collections or generic. We're going to need Unity engine though, but we're going to say using system. We're going to need the default system. We're going to need using system.collections. No, sorry, no we're not. I just said we don't need that. So, sorry, I'm getting a bit confused. We don't need system.collections, we need system.io, sorry. We need using file equals system dots and then io.file. Now this is hard to explain at the moment, but it's hard to explain, but we're going to use this to sort of save and read files. You could say another thing you could do is you could also say using file equals Unity engine dot windows dot file, but that doesn't work as well. I recommend just using system.io.file because this can only obviously be used on Windows, not Android or iOS. So if you're publishing just to Windows, sure, go ahead, use just the Windows, but you might get a few errors. So I recommend just using system.io.file, 0 errors, and it can be used on Android and iPhone and, you know, basically stuff like that. And then next we are going to want to move on, and we're going to say using system.runtime I've spelled runtime wrong. Runtime.serialization.formatters.binary. And that's going to allow us to use our binary stuff. I know that looks really complicated, I know. That's all we're going to want to do for using. Next, here we can leave everything as is, and we're going to say private const and then string file type. I won't be able to explain this the best in the world because even I don't understand some of this script. It's really complicated. But you can read up on it online. If you just search up, you know, binary formatting, save scripts and stuff like that, you can read up on it more. There's different types of binary formatting. You can get one which is not as good and messier. This is probably one of the neatest ones you can get. This is what quite a lot of people use. But, you know, you might find a few others. That's why I recommend just following this and copying this script. But you could probably find some off the internet. But then I can't help you if you're getting errors with those ones because I don't know what those scripts will be. And then this is going to be our file type. So this, say your file name is save data, and then you have dot something. The file type is what that dot is. So I'm going to say .txt for .text. You can literally make this anything. You can make this dot and then a load of random things. I'm going to make this txt just for text. Stands for text. Now next we're going to make a private static constant string, private static string, and this is going to be called the save path. Now this is going to be hard to explain, but what this is going to do is it's going to create the path for the save in your file. So we could make this into a sort of like a function which returns the save path, but rather than that we're just going to say equals and then the right sort of the right sort of eating thing, as they call it. I can't remember what it's called. Greater than sign, basically. Crocodile sign, greater than sign, whatever you want to call it. And this is basically saying that we're going to return something. And what we're going to return is we are going to return the application dot and then persistent data path plus and then slash, and then here we're going to create a folder's name. So our persistent data path and all that, that's where we're saving to. And then, well, not quite. This is where the application's been saved to, sort of all of its contents. And then here we're going to do plus, and then I'm going to do saves with another not and forward slash, like so. It has to sort of be like that. And then this is making a new folder called saves, which is where we're going to store all our saves. I'm also now just going to copy this exact same code, come down, and then this one won't be called save path. This will be called backup save path, because we also want to save some backups just in case any corruption. So what we're going to do is for every 10 saves, we're going to do one backup save. So then this will be /backups. You don't have to do backups, but you know, it's kind of better if you do, because it allows you to back up any lost data, as it sort of says. Next, we're going to make private static, and this is I'm spelling everything wrong today. This is going to be an integer. This is going to be our save count. So this is the counter for our save timer. Next, we're going to say public static void save data, and then we're going to do t. I'll explain t in a minute. And then we're going to do bracket and then t data, comma, and this is going to be a string called file name. Now, the reason why you're doing t here is because t basically allows you to take in any data you want into a list. So what we're doing here is basically making a list in a function, and it's t because it can be anything in here really. It doesn't have to be just specifically an integer or game object. It can be anything we want really. Next, we're going to want to say directory dot, as I said, directory dot create directory, and this is going to be our save path, so not count, save path. So this is creating a directory for our save path, or inside our path, whatever, same thing. Why have I got two brackets there? I'm being stupid. So if this path doesn't already exist, the save path doesn't already exist, it will create it basically. Next, we're going to say directory dot create directory. This is going to be our backup save path. Same thing, just for our backups. Anyway, now we're going to say if save counts, and here we go to a percentage sign 10. I'll explain that in a minute. Equals 0, and we're going to save. Backup. We're gonna make the save. Oh no, we don't want save. We just want save. Now we're gonna make this function in a minute, but we haven't made it yet. So just leave it as it is at the moment. It'll be an error, but we'll make it soon. We'll do backup save path, then a semicolon. Now what the percentage actually means is it means mod. Now mod in computer programming, it basically means the remainder. So for example, if we had 15 divided by 2, that would be 14 and then with 1 left over. So the mod of 15 over 2 is 1, because it's basically the remainder. So it gets the remainder, and yeah, so that's what the percentage does. It's the mod, so it gets the remainder. And it's 10 because that's how often we want to save or whatever. Anyway, now we're going to say we're just going to say save under here. Once again, not save count, just save. And in here we're going to have our default save path, because above we're saving our backup if it's 10. If not, we're just going to save it normally. Well, after that anyway. Now we're going to say save count plus, so our save count increases by 1 after it's saved. And then here we're going to make a function inside of this function called void save string path to get our path, and I don't want capital P there, I actually want our lowercase. And we're going to do our braces, and we're going to say using, and then this is the complicated stuff, alright? So I won't be able to explain this very well, just follow along. Let's say using stream writer equals new stream writer, sorry, and then here's going to be our path plus the file name and plus the file type. Now this is just sort of naming the file. We don't want a semicolon there. We then want braces because we're doing uses. I'm going to say binary formatter, and then we're gonna call this formatter equals new binary formatter, and then memory stream, and we'll call this memory stream equals new memory and then stream. Now I can't explain what this does because it's too complicated and it's stuff I don't understand, but I'm sure you could go look this up and then learn it. But I don't even understand this myself, I just know the script. So as I say, I can't explain this, but just if you look this up, I'm sure you could learn it. Anyway, now we're going to say formatter dot serialize, and here we're going to put in the memory string. Oh, what have I done here? The memory string, and our data. There we go. Oh, what am I doing? There we go. After we've serialized that, we want to say string data to save equals, and then this is going to be a convert dot to base 64 string, and then we're going to have memory stream in the brackets dot to array. So we're getting an array to save. We're saving an array. I'm going to say writer dot write line data to save, and then this writes the data into the sort of script. Anyway, outside of this, we can now do our loaded data. That's our save data done. We can now do loading data. So here we're going to say public. Load's going to be a bit different, but similar concept. It's going to be public static void, and then no, it's not going to be void actually. This one's going to be t, and load data t, and then this is going to be a string called file name. Then we're going to say directory dot create directory, then save path. Once again, creating these directories, and directory dot create directory backup save path. So it's actually properly creating them now when we load it. Then we're going to say bool required backup equals, and then false. Now this is going to see if we need to do backup or not. And then we're going to say t data to return, then load, say, no, we haven't made our load yet, but we're going to do it anyway, save path. And then after we've loaded our save path, we're going to say if, oh, I forgot to put my semicolon, if, and then we're going to say required backup, then we're going to load, not load data, just load backup save path, and that's going to load our backup if we require a backup. Next we're going to return data to return, then void load, and then string. Here we're going to create our actual load function method, string path, and we'll call this reader equals new stream reader path plus file name plus file type, and that's that. Oh no, it's not, because we now need to add more braces. And then in here we're going to say binary formatter, and then formatter equals new binary formatter string data to load equals, and then this is going to be reader dot read to end, semicolon, memory stream, and then we'll call this memory stream equals new memory stream, and then in here we're going to say convert dot from base 64 string data to load, and then boom boom, whoops, data to load, and we're going to have 2 brackets and a semicolon. Now I've only got one last bit to do here. Once again, still in the using, by the way. We're now going to say try, and then data to return equals, and then bracket t formatter dot deserialize. So if I'm not explaining this much, it's because I don't really know much about what this means, because I'm not very good with advanced saving. As I say, I get these scripts just off of other professional scripters. Like, these are, you can find these on GitHub and basically anywhere really. Then we're going to do a semicolon, and then after that we're going to drop down, we're going to say catch, oops, and then drop down, I'm going to say required backup equals true. As long as you're following along exactly with what I'm scripting, you'll be alright, you'll be perfectly fine. Then data to return, equals the defaults. And then we've got one last bit to say right outside of the load, which is going to be public static bool save exists string file name, and then we're going to do equals then greater than sign file dot exists open brackets save path plus file name plus file type, and then we're gonna do close the bracket and then do 2 lines. So, and then 2 of these little and then after we close the bracket, we're gonna do 2 of these lines, which basically means or in C#, but putting 2 lines means or. And then we'll say file dot exists, and then in here we're gonna do backup save path plus file name plus file type. So that's checking whether or not both the backup or the main both exist or not, and then we're done. That's it for this script. We are done. Now you can admire this really complicated script that not even I understand, and that's it for now. I'll be back with you shortly. I'm just going to take a break because of my head, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I'm finally back now. What we're going to want to do in our main game is, what I forgot about is we want to remove the load and remove the save there, because we're not going to need any of this as of right now. We can remove all our load and save as well, and now what we're going to do is we want to go into our data first of all, and right at the top we're just going to say Siri, what have I done here? I want to say serializable. Can I not say that? What do I need to be using? Do I need to be using system there? I'm using system. Okay, and if I say serializable, yes, so you want to put in using system and say serializable above the public class data. And now after you've done that, go back into your main game. I'm going to say private const string data file name equals, and this is going to be the name of our data file. So this is the name of your file, save data. You can call this whatever you want. I'm going to call this idle game series. You can call this whatever you want, and then semicolon. Now save system dot save exists exists. This here is going to be our file name, so we say data file name save system dot save exists, and then this one's going to be as well dot load. Oh, sorry, no, it's not. We need to do colon new then data with brackets. Sorry. Okay, that should be now it. Okay, above here Above the void update, we'll say public float. No, it can be private. Private float. Save time. Then we're going to do a semicolon. And here we're going to say save time plus equals time dot delta time times by 1 scale. There we go. And then it's semicolon. And now we just need to say if save time is bigger than or equal to, I'm going to do 5 here, because this is the number of seconds, how often you want it to save. I'm going to say every 5 seconds. Then we're going to then say save system dot save data, and there we go. And then we just need to say save time equals 0 and set that back down to 0. Now if you save that and test this, also what we want to do is press Windows R and type in do Windows R, then type in percent app data percent, and then press open. No, okay. We can just click play, I believe. I don't think we need to assign anything. Now, if you go into your thing, refresh this after you've run the game. It will take some time, actually, won't it? Because it takes some time to save. Let's go back out of it and go back in. We still don't see it. I don't actually remember what I called my thing. Oh, that's it, YouTube series. You see it here. So your thing will pop up in your local log. You'll open it. You see your idle game. We haven't got any save files at the moment. Let's collect some money. Let's get a couple of upgrades. There we go. Now if we stop, if we now go to our thing, we see our saves here. We've got an idle game series save and a backup save as well. Now if you run this with all hope, yeah, there we go. We've got our saved data back. So that's it for this video, everyone. Well done if you made it right to the end. You did a really good job. Pat yourself on the back, because this was a hard episode. So thanks for watching this one, everyone. If you did like this, sorry it was really long and complicated. I didn't really explain much because I don't really understand it myself, to be honest. But if you did enjoy it, please leave a thumbs up. It really helps. Make sure if you're enjoying your content, make sure to consider subscribing. That helps a lot with motivation and stuff as well. And leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll answer them below. Thank you for watching, and bye.